This
maintenance,
conference will now be recorded.
Yeah,
planned maintenance, which is a rare occasion to restart. You said 40 days warning is given by Microsoft, otherwise they will start by themselves between days 41 to 47. Then you
correct.
talked about SLAs, 99.9% in single machine with Ultra HD, and availability of 99 point availability set will give you 99.95%. You spoke about identical voice virtual machines in different hardware using the load balancer. Then you
Yep.
spoke about fault domains. You spoke about update domains. Update is up to 0 to 20 update domains will be there, logically kept in two separate domains. When virtual machine is placed in a update domain, maintenance is done on one domain at a time. So even during platform maintenance activity, application is available. And in case of data center failure, availability zone comes into play. Availability zone is 99.99%. In a single region, you will have three availability zones: zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and each one will have its own power supply, cooling supply, and networking. You'll have two virtual machines, one in availability zone 1 and the other one in availability zone 2 or 3, wherever. So maintenance done in each availability zone independently or at a time. So when one is done, 2 and 3 will always be there. Then
Mm.
you spoke about scaling
This
concepts.
conference will now be recorded.
Vert- you spoke about vertical scaling, horizontal scaling. Then you showed us the concepts of vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. Then scale out and scale in. And you showed us some scale sets. And that's it. VMSS, virtual machine scale sets. That's what you stopped at.
Correct. So did I show you the demo? No,
On the
right?
virtual machine scale set, no.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks for the quick recap. Yeah, that's exactly what we have discussed last class. So before we move on, any questions from previous classes? Any questions on? I think we have covered close to 2 weeks of course. Any questions until now? Okay.
Everything is new to most of us. So
Hmm.
naturally, questions will not come up so easily.
That is right. I totally agree on that. But still, even if it's a dumb question, don't worry. You can still ask it. So because as you said, a lot of people are new. So you might think like the question that you have is very, very basic question. But for others, it could be the same question they also might have in their mind. So it's okay to ask questions, whether it's a complex one or it's a basic one or it's a dumb question as well. It's fine. So you can ask the questions. Uh, okay, cool. So yeah, if you have any questions later, also feel free to reach out to me or feel free to raise. So let's jump into demonstration today. Okay, so we will actually create a VMSS today, and we'll create first of all a VM, and then we'll try to place it in availability set. I think did I show you creating a VM and placing in availability set, creating a VM, placing in availability zone?
No, last time you showed a demo document and you walked us through the document. No demo was given last Friday.
Mm. Okay, so first let us actually we were discussing about, so let us actually create a VM. We'll try to place it in a availability set and availability zone, and we'll see how does actually look like. Okay, so let's quickly create a, so again, to create a virtual machine, it is not always mandatory that you have to create from here only. So you can create from PowerShell, you can create from CLI, you can create from ARM template, you can create from Terraform. So these are the multiple ways that you have. So it's not really mandatory that you have to create from here. Okay, that's, so let's say you might have a doubt, like, I want to create using PowerShell. How do I start? I want to create from CLI. How do I start? I want to create from ARM template. How do I start? So these are the questions that you might have. So don't worry, we have a separate session where I will actually talk about creating virtual machine from PowerShell, CLI, ARM template, as well as Terraform. So these are the 4 tools that we're going to cover, which I will cover one by one. Don't worry about it. But let's say if you want to explore yourself, I suggest you to just simply do Azure VM creation docs. So you get some documentation around it. You see options here, quick start options. So this is a very good documentation. To me, you do not have to refer anything else, just refer Microsoft Docs. That's it. Because you have a good documentation there. So let's say you want to create a Linux virtual machine. You want to create using CLI. Simply choose CLI and you have the commands. Try to understand these commands. Don't
This
just,
Ophelia,
yeah. Yes,
sorry to
okay.
interrupt. Yeah, can you share that link
Sure, sure.
in the chat?
Yeah, I'm sharing that. Yeah. So here, when you see a command, don't just blindly copy and paste the command. Try to understand what it's doing. Okay, how this command is working. So of course you get the command ready-made commands, but my suggestion is do not go ahead and create just copy and paste it. Try to understand what is it doing. AZ create, AZ group create. What is it doing? So let's say, for example, now I want to create a virtual machine using AZ group create, Azure CLI. So then what do you do? So you have to say ideally Azure CLI commands will be in this format: AZ group. So it always starts with AZ, then your service, whatever the service. Let's say you want to create a resource group, it will be named as group. If you want to create a virtual network, then you will actually start with network. If you want to create a VM, you'll start with VM. So if you want to start with storage, you'll start with storage. So based on your service, your this next command will look like. So then whether you want to use, you want to create, you want to delete, you want to list, you want to show, so then the next command will actually will be decided. So here, let's say you are using AZ group create, but for example, you don't know which command to use first of all. Okay, you don't even know how to use a command. You see something like AZVM create, right? So this is for AZVM create. This is for AZ group create. First of all, just a minute. Too many tabs are confusing for you guys. I will close all of this. Okay, now I think it's clean. Okay, so where are we? We are actually here. You see a command AZ group create. Just simply choose this, open this tab. You have the AZ group create commands available. So this is a CLI documentation. Okay, so from the main page, we are going to CLI documentation that you see. So here, so in CLI documentation, you see AZ group create. If you just choose this tab, you will have the documentation how to create AZ CLI. First of all, what does it do? Scroll down. It says it creates a new resource group. And to create a new resource group, what you have to do? AZ group create, you have to pass on location and then you have to pass on name. And if you want to pass on by additional details, of course these are not mandatory, but if you want to pass on some tags and all, then you can do it. And you see AZ group create, location, and name of the resource group. This is how it can be passed on. Then you can create a resource. You also will see some additional if you want to delete, this is how the command will look like. If you want to see whether it's exist or not, you'll see the commands. So all commands related to group are listed here. You see all the command, and also for each of the command you have an example as well. It's a very cool documentation, right? You really do not have to search anywhere else. Just come to here and look for this commands and all. Then for example, now I want to start from scratch. I want to create a virtual machine. Okay, so ideally creating a virtual machine, a simple virtual machine is easy, but when you want to create a virtual machine availability set, that is where you have to little bit of it, it's like you have to work on that little bit. So I think I'm covering too many topics today. First, I thought of going with Azure CLI. So then you have something called, this is called Cloud Shell. Cloud Shell, you see, on your Azure portal, some of you may know already, some of you do not know. You see option called Cloud Shell. When you move your cursor to here, you'll see Cloud Shell option. So this is actually a browser-based shell where inside this shell you have pre-installed PowerShell, pre-installed Azure CLI. So you do not, there is no for additional configuration required. you can simply go ahead and use it, and it is a free of cost. So Microsoft will provide this, shell for you for free, but only you will only pay for the storage that you're mounting for this machine. It's a free BSD, open source Linux machine, with very lightweight one, which they have built. They are giving that machine to you for free, uh, installing PowerShell and CLI. So it has pre-configured tools, as well as it is automatically authenticated. So automatically authenticated, where you don't have to authenticate specifically to Azure. So because you are in the same tab, you're in the same tab. So with this user, with these credentials, it automatically authenticates for you. So that's actually very cool feature, if you ask me, where a lot of times nowadays we have to install certain things and do that. And because it's a browser based, because most of us we will be working from for some organizations, those in the companies, what usually what we will have is we'll have some restrictions, firewall restrictions and all. From our local applications, most of the time we may not be able to do everything full-fledgedly. So in that case, Cloud Shell is a very a helpful tool for you, where you're not charging extra, where you don't have any extra billing on this. So yeah, you can happily go ahead and use it. But before that, to create a Cloud Shell, how do you create a Cloud Shell? So to create a Cloud Shell, first of all, you have to create a storage account. So storage account is something which is mandatory, because whenever you upload or whenever you actually maintain some data in a Cloud Shell, that data will be stored in the storage account. So I will explain you in detail how exactly it works. Is, let's say this is a temporary machine. Where is- okay, so let's actually quickly cover this up, and then I'll go back to. Okay. So what I was saying is, first of all, Cloud Shell, it's an important tool. It has pre-installed PowerShell and CLI, and it automatically authenticates. Okay. These are the three things that you can remember. And then this is for a freely provided free service, but you will only pay for storage. Now let's discuss how does the storage work. So you will be given a machine. You will be given a machine, which is a Linux based one. As far as I know, it has a pre-installed PowerShell, it has pre-installed CLI, automatically authenticates. So AD is also done. Authentication is done. So this Linux machine, as you know, it's a free machine that's given by Microsoft to us to use it. But there are chances, but on certain terms and conditions again. So if you do not use this Cloud Shell for 20 minutes, if your Cloud Shell is idle, let's say right now I opened the Cloud Shell previously, right? If this is idle for 20 minutes, they will take this Cloud Shell away from you. They can give this Cloud Shell to anybody else. The reason, because they have a pool of Cloud Shells, like hundreds and thousands of pool of Cloud Shells. They will actually circulate these Cloud Shells too, because they are offering these for free. They want to give it to people who are actually required. Let's say you have taken a Cloud Shell, but you're not using Azure at all, then it's a waste, right? You're not actually, when you're not using, so it doesn't make sense giving you a Cloud Shell, right? So to avoid this, they will actually ensure that if any Cloud Shell is idle for 20 minutes, they can take this Cloud Shell away from you. They can give it to another customer, because it's a free service. But you might have a doubt. So when I'm using this Cloud Shell, it's a machine. I want to run one script. Let's say to run the script, you might have uploaded the script to this machine. Okay, you might have uploaded the script to this machine. And then when after 20 minutes, if this machine is taken away from you, machine will be given to others. And what happens to my data? So if you might have that question, right? So in that case, you're actually mounting on storage. So you are creating one storage account in Azure. This is Azure, and this belongs to your subscription, our subscription. In our subscription, you will create one storage exactly to speak. It's Azure files. So it's a Azure file share. A file share will be created for you within Azure. You are creating in your subscription. You can even see that file share. This file share will be mounted to your machines. And then whenever you upload or whenever you create a file or modify a file, whatever you do, especially in terms of files, all these files will be stored in this storage account, in this file share, which is in your subscription. Okay, because you're mounting a remote file share to your machine. So that is how, even if this machine is taken away, this file share is something cannot be taken away, right? It is still in your subscription. So whenever you get, let's say after 20 minutes it's taken away, and after 1 hour you came back and you want to again use a cloud shell, again you will be given a new machine. Sometimes you might get the old machine itself, sometimes you might get a new machine. So it totally depends. Okay, but again, when you get a new machine, Microsoft will ensure that they will mount the same file share to you. Whatever you have whatever the file share it's mounted previously, which you have created, same file share will be mounted on your this cloud shell, so that your data will always be persisted, and also the data is residing in your subscription, in your control. It is not something Microsoft is controlling the data again. So this cloud shell machine itself is free, but what you will be billed for is this file share. So it will be very minimal charges, like usually per GB basis. Per GB they'll actually charge you something, so it's very minimal charge. So whatever you pay, that is for your storage, not for your machine. So machine they are giving it for free, but the storage, whatever you upload, download the data, this data is this money that you pay. So, and then yeah, I mean, again, it's one machine for one user. Okay, one machine for one logon. You might think like, can I take 2 3 and use it? No, not possible. So it is one machine for one logon. In a subscription, if you have 5 users, all the 5 users have the logons to Azure portal. These 5 users can actually request 5 different CloudShare machines. That is possible. But one logon can only take one machine. And again, 20 minutes is the expiry timeout value. Is it clear? CloudShare.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's quickly jump into this one then. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we are going to create a storage account now for us. So to create a storage account, you can choose your subscriptions. I'm going to choose this. So I think I have already created one, but let's see. So if you go to, like, usually if you're creating it for the first time, you can just simply choose subscription ID. Your subscription is simply create a storage. It creates for you. And if you want to go advanced details, this is where you actually choose advanced details. Like, you choose a location. Ideally, it is coming from Central India. And you can choose your resource group, storage account, file share. But when you're creating file share, so you are actually customizing this naming convention. But most of the times we go with the default naming convention itself, because of the fact that, so now it's created. Now I'm into my cloud shell. If I go back to my Azure portal, let's see how does it look like. Let me go to all resources. Okay, so in all resources blade, or else I have to go to resource groups. That's easy. You see one resource group created, cloud shell storage Central India. Maybe if you have access to your company's Azure subscription, you might have noticed resource groups with this name automatically got created. You might be wondering what this is related to. So it is actually related to your cloud shell. Okay, so that's how you create a cloud shell. Now we are into bash, so you can switch this bash to PowerShell, PowerShell to bash anytime. And this is where if you want to restart your Cloud Shell, you can do it. So when you restart it, you might get same session, or you're actually restarting this machine. So, and then you want to get some help, you can get it from your settings. You can always, text size, marking small, large, and in font size, font, you can always make these changes. And here, this is where you can upload your scripts and download your scripts. And then here you can actually create a new open session, so which will actually open a cloud, the same session in a new tab. So it is like this. It opens in a new tab for you. So where you'll have full. So here it's like half off. Ideally, it's not like half off as well. So you can simply just drag it, so you'll still have the same thing. Okay, it's a full shell. Yeah. So and then this is actually open editor. Very cool thing what I felt with the Cloud Shell is open editor. So you can edit files within the shell itself. That's very cool thing. So a lot of times you'll have some scripts, you might want to edit that script. So when you use a browser based shell, there you might think there is some limitation, but it's a very cool thing. If you have a file, you can always edit directly the open shell editor. How does it look like? When you click on it, you'll see this. Let's say I have this file. You can always edit. On right side, you see 3 dots. Once you're done with the editing, you can save it. You can close the editor. So this is how it works like. Okay, so you can always edit. You can place. You'll see your scripts here. You can always edit. This is a very cool thing to me, if you ask me. This is web preview, still in preview. So don't worry about preview features for now, because there is still sometimes they do development, sometimes they'll stop and they will redesign. So a lot of things happens. Right now, focus on the stuff that is already available. So because you're in beginning stage. So right now we are into Bash. So when you're into Bash, how do you actually, we want to create a resource group. Okay, so how do you create a resource group? First of all, I don't know. Let's say I don't know a command that I need to use for a resource group. Typically, if you don't know a command, very simple option is go ahead and look at the AZ-CLI documentation. So this is where you will see all the groups and all the commands. All the, for each and every service, you have the commands available here. But if you want to know from the shell itself, here itself, then what you have to do is AZ find, then group. So you'll use AZ find command, then you will give your resource group name, or which which you want to create. Then you'll get some sample commands. You see this is AZ group show to get a resource group, AZ group export to capture all the resource group details. So now you know that AZ group is the next command. So for AZ, next to AZ you have to use group. That is something clear to you, right? So now what you do, AZ group is something clear to you. Now to use AZ group further, how do you actually use it? So then comes to your, then you can actually just do dash help. You get some help. So this is where you will actually see AZ group. You have the detailed documentation, AZ group. Then so this is actually a subgroup. Your commands will always be divided like groups and subgroups. So it's like it's a main group, and inside this group command you have another subgroup command, so like another subset of it. So now AZ group, and how to use these commands: AZ group create, AZ group delete, AZ group exist, export, list, show, update. You see very good and detailed documentation, and for each of these you also have the examples: AZ group export, exist, wait, update, and show. Let's say you want to create a resource group and you want to see some how to create a resource group. Now you know that next command that you should use is, let me clear this up. You know that next command that you need to use is AZ group create, but you don't know how to use this one. Again, use some help. So in the help, again, you see this command details like AZ group create a new resource group, then locations, and then name. You see something like required. So wherever you see required, the meaning is these two parameters are mandatory. Other parameters are optional. If you want to provide, you can provide. If you don't want to, you can simply skip. So optional. And then creating a resource group, you see the command here. So AZ group create location, you're providing location, and then resource group name, you're providing resource group name. Again, AZ group create, you're providing group name and location. So you see the examples available here, right? So this is how you will use a command. Now we know the format, how to use this. Simply copy this, and then let's quickly paste it in here. Or else, if you want to modify the names and all, you can do it. So I will say this resource group as 10 Jan 2022. Okay, today's date. And West Europe, let us keep it as West Europe only. So you see it's created. So this is actually JSON output, JSON format output. JSON is JavaScript object notation format output. So typically when you write ARM templates, you will see this format. Okay, so this is how now it's you see succeeded, provisioning succeeded. This is the output of your resource group detail. This is your resource group ID, and then location, and you see the details, name of the resource group and properties and all that. So this is how you create a resource group. Now similarly, let's say you want to create a VM. How do you create a VM? So now that we created a resource group, you know what command to use. AZ group create. So next time when you want to create a resource group, probably you might not actually go through all the process what I explained, like finding group command, again using that command, getting some help, and creating a resource group. Because if you do it often, most of the time you remember the commands. So now it is just that you're actually starting very new, so you might not aware how to actually find a command and what command to use and how to use it. So that's why I'm actually covering how to get the help, how to find those commands and all. So this is how you actually you will learn. So basically you will actually, first of all, initially you'll get some help whenever required, but later on it will be very easy for you. You'll actually very comfortably you'll be able to create. So now let us actually see AZVM. Similarly, let's see AZVM commands. Okay, AZ, again, if I don't know, find VM. You see AZ REST, this is doesn't actually start with VM. You see getting a virtual machine details here. It says it's a getting information, but you want to something related to VM. You see place a CLI waiting straight until you see AZ VM wait, AZ lab VM. So I see something related to AZ VM, but not very full-fledgedly. So let's actually search with AZ virtual machine. I don't know if we can find with virtual machine or not. Let's virtual machine. So again, you got these examples only, but because I already know that AZVM, so you see one command that you see here, AZVM. So this is actually the next command that we should use. So beside AZ, to create a virtual machine, you have to use AZVM. And then you, of course, you don't know how to use this command. Then you'll get some help. Here, you have, again, as I said, you have a main group, AZVM group, and then inside a VM, you have the subgroups like application availability set. So this is ideally, this is what we need, like creating availability set and all. And then you have a boot diagnostic. These are all subgroups. Then coming to commands, AZVM commands, you see the commands here, like AZVM capture, convert, create, deallocate, delete, generalize. See all these commands, list, skews. Let's say if you want to use if you just want to list AZ VM, list skews nothing but different sizes. Okay, you're actually seeing different sizes. Enter. Sorry. What happened? Screen got sorry. Okay, so what I was talking about is AZ AZVM list. Let me actually clear this tab again. AZVM list SKUs. For example, you want to see some. It will list all the SKUs, all the available VM sizes. you see this in a JSON format. It is always difficult to read in JSON format. You got the output, but the problem is complete output is in JSON format. It's difficult, right? So then, okay. So in that case, we can use output to table. Again, this might take some time, but if you go to output table, then it will actually list out all the sizes in a table format for us. Now, right now, what we have seen is in a JSON format, JavaScript object notation format. This is how it look like. It is little difficult to understand and go through this usually. So until unless you are some developer. Okay, so this is how you see this output. All the VM sizes are available, complete VM sizes, and also including the regions and all that. It's a very huge list, but this is the conclusion here is, so this is how you use a command. You will find that you'll get the help and you'll use that command like this. So let me clear this screen. Now let's go to AZVM help again. We have seen list SKUs usually. We also can see list sizes, list usage, and all. So what we are trying to do is create, right? We want to create a VM. When you want to create a VM, so how to use AZ again? AZ VM create. Sorry, create. Again, let's get some help. Okay, so you got some helps here. Help here. AZVM create. So this is the example that again, let's actually start from here. Okay, so again, this is also very huge list because VM is so you see the command AZVM create will create a virtual machine for you. And if you want to see a quick start, again, it is redirecting you to the same link that I've already pasted to you in the chat. And then name, two things are mandatory, name and group. Other details you have to provide. If you don't provide, of course, what happens is it actually takes some default values. Then it will create one VM for you. But that's not recommended practice in a real time or practical. So you have to fill out all the details. Usually, along with the name and resource group, you have to fill out other details as well. So these are all the no arguments that you need to provide the additional information based on Windows, Linux. You'll provide all these details. And I will show you some sample scripts from where you can get those scripts and how to actually leverage those scripts. Okay, so now you see AZVM create admin username, deploy, and generate SSH keys. And image, you see CentOS and the name also. So this is all usually you pass on the details to create a VM. So if you use just only these details, it actually see some of the details we are not providing here, like virtual network details we are not providing. What it does is it creates one default virtual network based on your resource group naming convention. It creates one VNet for you, and then it will actually place it there. So again, if you region, virtual network, subnet, NICs. So a lot of details we are not passing on here. But if you want to pass on all the details, ideally to create in a CLI, we have to create it's not what do you say? Um, of course you can create what do you say, script, and you can actually define all these steps. Like first of all, start with virtual network creation, then create the subnets, and then you create a NIC, then you actually create a VM, attach that NIC to VM. So this is how you have to define your script basically, and then you can actually run that. So now you know that how to use these commands, how to get the help and all. Now let us actually quickly let me take you to the AZ CLI, some of the AZ CLI already ready-made scripts that are available, which are placed by Microsoft. So usually these scripts you will see in Azure CLI GitHub. Azure CLI scripts, you can say. Yeah, I think this one. Yeah. Yes. So you will see, where is this? I think in the scripts we'll see probably. Not this one. Yeah, so this is where you'll see Azure samples, CLI examples. Yeah, so this is the URL. Again, I'm pasting this URL for you guys. Please do keep these URLs handy. When some information that I'm sharing, yeah, please keep this handy for you. Later, we can actually use those. So now I want to see, you see all the services here, but I want to specifically look at the virtual machine. Let's go to virtual machines, okay? So in a virtual machine, you have again detailed multiple examples that are available here. How to create a VM to image, and how to how to capture VM to image, and the copying managed disk, and you have different examples here. So what we would need is basically creating a VHD file, creating a VM quick. When you want to create a VM quickly, and you have this creating VM detailed, creating VM with custom data. So you see a lot of example. Now I want to use creating VM detailed. If I go to creating VM details, I have two things. I have one shell script, creating VM detail and creating Windows VM detail. So again, it's again choice of us, which one we want to use. So if you just open this, you have a shell script which talks about it. So you can see full script here. Like, you are providing all the details. So what it is doing, AZ group create, AZ VNet create, AZ public IP create, AZ NSD create. Not just AZ NSD, AZ network NSD, network public IP, network VNet, and group create. Then you are creating NIC card, passing on all the details. Then you're creating VM finally, passing on again all the details. And then you're also opening a port. So this is how a script will look like. So what we are doing, we are embedding all the commands one by one. See, that's how you create a script. So now, earlier I actually told you how to use a command to create one service. Now what you're doing is you're appending commands one by one in a right format in a script. Just only difference, you're starting script with WinBash, then you're actually yeah, every shell script will start with shebang. So every shell script will start with this, and then you'll actually use the commands. This is a variable, okay, and you'll actually use your command for line, like step by step, one by one, one by one. So this is how you create a script. So now if you want to actually what do you say, if you want to, you can simply download the script basically, or else you also can just simply copy it. If you want to create a VM now with a detailed information, this is how you create it. But ideally there is something, just a second guys, there is someone at door. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so what we're doing is just simply copy this content. Okay, I think it copies raw content. Okay, I don't want raw. Just copy these lines. Then let's go to our shell. So here I've been talking about shell editor, right? So let's also follow the naming convention. What do they call it as? Create VM. Okay, I will create one file with this name. So how do I create? I can use VA editor in Linux. Then I can actually paste this name. Then it creates one empty file. I have to put my content here. Let's copy the content. Quick way, easy way to do it. Instead of downloading and uploading, simply you can actually insert, press I to insert the content, then paste it. Once it is done, escape, double quotes, sorry, not, yeah, then WQ. So write and save. Now if you just want to see, you can use cat, create, see the content. You have the script available here. Okay, now I'm going to clear this. You can simply run the script now if you want. But before we run the script, let us also look at, we want to create a VM in availability set, right? That's our ultimate goal. Let's actually see here. We have seen some examples, but these examples doesn't talk about how to create a VM using availability set. So I don't see creating VM within availability set, right? So do you see anything like that? No, as here I don't see that example. Now what do you do? Go to AZCLI example. Let's see if you get any availability set examples. So I don't see. You can just simply search with set. VMSS is what I see. That's the only one thing I see. Okay, cool. Okay. So ideally what we need to do is we have to create one availability set. So let's actually see AZ VM help. You will see one subcommand like availability set. Okay. Copy this. AZ again. AZ VM availability set help. Convert, create, delete. What we need to do is create. Clearing the content. Again, AZ VM availability set create help. In create, if you see some examples, we need to provide name and resource group name. AZ VM available set create. So this is how it look like. AV set create. If you want to provide update domains, fault domains details, you will use this command. Okay. Now what I'm doing, I'm copying this command. Okay. Copy. Let's go ahead and let's use our open editor. Go to our script. Where should we keep this? We can actually, so this is our resource group creation. I can actually comment, I can actually give one more comment and I'll say creating availability set. Okay. Then use the same command. Of course, it won't be in the right format. You have to arrange it in the right format. Okay. Now this makes sense. Platform for domains. I think some few things are missed here. Okay. I think, yeah, there shouldn't be any space. Yeah, so this is in right format now. Where is the rest of the command? Yeah, it's there. So when you want to give the command in next line, yeah, now it's there perfectly. All right. Yep. So now this is, we are creating a resource group now, but yeah, names, AV set, everything looks fine. But while you are creating a VM, how do you place this VM under in a scale set? That is important. So again, let's go back to our close the editor, go back to this. Again, let's look at AZVM create examples help. Okay. So here there will be some arguments. In the arguments, you will see availability set option. come on, it's too much of arguments. So too many arguments are available here. That's fine. So you see availability set argument here, right? So here, what does it say? In availability set argument, it says you have to provide a name or the ID of the existing availability set to add a VM. So this is what you have to do. So now what we should do, this is what I need to use. Go to editor again, go to our script. In our script, we are creating a VM create. So this is where you have to pass on your availability set details. So how do you pass that on? So you'll actually give, let's say, then you will provide your availability set. What availability set are you creating? This is what you are creating. Provide this name here. Oh, I can't paste. I have copied it. And am I able to paste it? Seriously? Okay, fine. What's the name? My AV set. My AV set. Okay, it's there. Then use it. So this line will actually we use this line when you want to extend your command to next lines. Okay. So now we are creating availability set, and also we are actually providing, we are actually placing that availability set in. We are placing our virtual machine in this availability set. Now this looks clear to me. Now let us actually save this. Any questions until here? Are we good? Are you able to understand what I've done? How to create a script also something I'm able to explain. But did you understood? How much you guys understood?
Well, I understood and seems interesting to me, and people will speak for themselves, but I understood.
Okay, cool. So now what we're gonna do? Yeah, I mean, I also will. Yeah, if others also feel, anything different, if you actually want to ask some questions, feel free to ask me. So don't hesitate. So here I'll say create a virtual machine in availability set, because always when you create a script, you have to ensure that it is in a descriptive format. Like, these commands should actually tell you what you're going to do in this line should tell you what you're going to do in this with these commands. Okay, same thing we are also doing. I am saying create a virtual machine availability set is what we are doing right now. So I will make it as a script. So this is how you should do it. Now what I'm doing is I'm saving this one, close the editor. Now let's run the script. Okay, so before I run the script, I need to ensure that there are no resource group with that name. I am using my resource group as a name. If there is any resource group with that name, so I might get some issues. So I don't see anything for now. Let me see. Yeah. So now it's clear. Now I am good to go ahead and.
You said when the script has to be pushed, it has to go to the next line, you give a backslash. How does the script end? A semicolon or just nothing?
Script actually, for this when only it starts with this, but for ending purpose you don't do anything.
Yeah, just as it is. So that admin password is the last. Okay.
Not admin password. This is actually opening a port. NSG is the last. Opening
Okay.
3389. This is RDP machine. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, closing this editor. Then now let's run the script. Okay. Let me see what content we've got. Okay. Okay, I have to say sh is a shell script. Then I have to give this name. So I'm running this script now. Let's see what happens. Hopefully it creates whatever is required. Let's see. So just to summarize what we have done, first of all, we have learned how to use Cloud Shell. Then we have learned how to use CLI, how to find examples. And once you find some example, like how to find the initial command that needs to be used based on the service, then how to get help, how to find examples, and also is what we have learned. Then we have seen creating a resource group. We have seen creating a virtual machine. Then I have shown you some sample, built-in some of the sample CLI scripts that are placed by Microsoft in the GitHub. We have seen these, but of course, anytime when you see a script, see it won't be like 100% matched for your requirement. It is always good to use the sample script, but we should be aware that these scripts do not give out 100%, whatever we want to achieve. You won't get that. So all you have to do is understand the script. Yeah, Salim, please go on mute. So yeah, what you have to do is understand the script, what it is doing, then modify the script according to your requirement. So we have done the same. What we understood the script, we know that it's creating a virtual machine, but our requirement is to create a virtual machine within availability set. That's what, because we are learning availability set. So we have to create a VM within availability set. What we have done, we have found the command, we have again identified the command that we need to use to create availability set. Again, we have modified our script, we have added that availability, script availability set creation command. Then again, we have modified our VM creation, that argument as well. So that is how you have to create that is how you have to create a script. First of all the what are the procedure. So it doesn't matter whether you are a fresher or you're an experienced person, but when you don't know something, so this is the procedure that you have to follow. I hope that will. Now let's actually wait for this to create, and I think if it creates, I think we are good. Then we'll verify, then I will explain how does it look like. We also can run the script again one more time to give another VM name, so that also should be fine. It's creating a VM, I guess. Let's see what resources are created so far. See, every time in a CLI, every time you see output in JSON format only. So it has created a resource group, then it has created availability set, okay, with 2 fault domains, 2 update domains. Then it has created a virtual network with this prefix. Then what it has done, subnet with this prefix. Then network interface card is something, public IP it has created. Then NSD is what it has created. Then what is and the rules and all are created. Then nick, something nick is got created. Then what else? That's it. So VM is being created right now. It's in progress. Let's see. Okay. It's still in progress. We'll wait for this to complete.
This is a Windows server, right?
Yes, it's a Windows server, correct?
And you're creating it in Unix.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
all
we are
right. I mean,
using
now I know you can create both Windows and Linux servers in Linux.
yes. You can create anything with CLI. See, whatever is possible with PowerShell. In Azure, again, so you might be wondering, should I, learn CLI or should I learn Windows PowerShell, Azure PowerShell? So answer is, you don't have to be expert in both. So you should. It's good to know both of these, but you can be expert in one. That should be sufficient. So that's all. That's what you should aim for. Again, which one you should go for is again a choice of yours, because whatever you can perform, everything that you can do with the CLI can also be done with the PowerShell. So there is no limitation there.
Okay.
Okay, I see it's created. Let's actually go to our Azure portal and see. So this is my resource group, newly created one, and I see availability set created. VM is also created. Let's actually go to the VM. So I see the VM, but what I need to ensure is, does this VM is placed in availability set or not? How do I know that? You have to go to availability set and scaling. So this is where you see it's placed in availability set, and right now it's in fault domain 0 and update domain 0. Your fault domain and update domain will always start with 0, 0 to 20, 0 to 3, 0 to 20. Okay, so yep, so it's cool. So we have created it. Now let's say you want to create one more, the same availability set. How do you do that? Let's go to same script, copy the same thing. Actually, we can say we can create one more. I don't know whether I can create another file here. Probably creating a file from here may not be possible, but what you can do is,
Yeah, you can just save it as a new file name.
that's right. So again, you have to use VI only. Okay, I will say, what's our VM file name? Okay, so I will use this detail one. Okay, so again, I need some content, right? So this content is something I get it from here. Okay. Again, press I to insert the data, paste it. But of course, we need to modify. We'll modify from the UI mode. Okay, you have the another file. Here, what we need to do, we have to, first of all, resource group can be same. Availability set also should be same. Public IP address is something we should change. We should give it as a 2. MSG also can be same, no problem there. And NIC, something should change. So you can say 02. VNet, subnet can be same. And here, when you're changing the public IP address already to 02, you also have to change it here 02. Okay. NSG, as we have used it same, so rest of all these details remain same. And then VM name should be 02. Resource group will be same, and these will be same. NIC is also changed, so you're going to change it. Then this also can remain same. Password says changing password. So this password, I think, not sure what password it has picked earlier, but I will give some password, something like this. Okay. Just so this it actually creates using this password, admin password. Then cool. I think this is the VM02 I have to click. Okay. I think pretty much we have modified our script for a second VM creation. I'm gonna save this. Let's quickly double check. Password is something I've given. Resource group fine. Availability set will remain same. VNet also will remain same. Then public IP address, something we have changed, and same has been already added here. Nickname also changed. Nickname also added here. So I think you're good. Let's actually run this script now for another VM creation. I'll say shell sh and create -2. Okay, let's create this. Okay, I think we should get some errors, I guess. Let's see. Is it creating another VM? I think it's creating another something. 1 second. 7AEC. Which subscription is this? Okay. Same subscription it's creating in. Let's see what it does. Okay, it's creating another. I think. We have missed to actually modify a couple of things. So we've already created a resource group. You don't have to do this again. We've already created a this one also. You don't need to create this again. This is also already created, not required to create. So these are the things that we need to create typically. But this is what we have missed. So I think that's why it is creating it again. So these things we have to comment out for our second script. Save this. I expected it to get some errors, but it is creating it. Let's see what it actually does after it's ready. Let's actually go to our resource group and see if it's leading to resource groups. I don't see any second one. So it's in same resource group. Probably there might be, if this is the case, there is some improvement in CLI. See, ideally how CLI works is there is some existing resource group, it actually throws an error. It says, this resource group already existed. But right now what I'm saying is it is not throwing an error, it is actually proceeding further, considering that resource group has already existing one. Usually Terraform and ARM templates does this. So, but CLI, PowerShell, they should throw you an error. But if they are not throwing an error, then there is some good improvement in the product development. But which we will conclude once it is created. Since it's created, it's in progress. Okay, looks like it's created. Create this. VM2 not found is what I got. Let's see what happened. Do a refresh. Oh, I see VM2 also created, which is a very cool thing. In the same resource group we got, now we have VM2. Let's check whether it's in availability set or not. Yeah, I also see it in fault domain 1, update domain 1. So the earlier one was in fault domain 0, update domain 0. Now it's in fault domain 1, update domain 1, which means we have created two identical VMs. They are actually separated in hardware as well as in a logical grouping for updates. So this is how usually you create availability set and you place your VMs in availability set. Same thing can be achieved with the PowerShell, what do you say, with the portal as well. But with the advantage with the CLI or PowerShell is that you will spend some time in creating a script. But once you have the script ready, it doesn't take much efforts from you. All you have to do is just a few minutes of efforts, renaming or changing the details and all, then running it. So it will be very effective if you have the scripts created already. So that's the major difference that you see. I hope you understood how to create a VM in an availability set. Of course, we are yet to create a VM in availability zone, which we will do it. But I think until here, is it clear? Any questions? Okay, if you don't have questions, let me give a quick recap what we've discussed today. We have first of all, we have learned about Cloud Shell, then we have learned about CLI examples and how to find commands and examples. Then we have seen how to create a resource group, how to create a virtual machine. Then I've walked you through, first of all, I walked you through quick starts for VM creations. The links are in the chat. Then we have also discussed about creating. We have discussed about sample scripts, CLI sample scripts, designed by Microsoft. Then we modified that script according to our requirement. We have added availability set, commands, and then we created two VMs, and we have verified that these two VMs are placed in availability set. One VM is placed in fault domain 0, update domain 0. Other VM is placed in fault domain 1 and update domain. So this is a quick summary of what we have discussed today. Okay, so I strongly recommend you guys to practice, create 2 VMs, same way. Do not create, now we have already learned, see, mostly we know how to create using Portal. That's not something new for us most of the time. So you also will realize it once you start creating it. But try to create this, whatever I did today, try to replicate the same thing in your own machine lab environment. So do it, firstly do it exactly same as what I've done. Then later on you can explore further. Okay, this is what my recommendation. And if no other questions, we'll wind up for today and we'll catch up tomorrow. Okay, so it's very silence.
Yeah, thank you. No, it was interesting.
Okay, so thank you guys. Take care, stay safe. See you all tomorrow.
Yep, thank
Okay.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you.